Hello, hello. Gonna get started here in just a second. Just making sure the audio comes through. I think my video audio for the opening has been muted with that. I did a DMCA free one. I haven't gotten a copyright strike or anything, but I can only imagine it's a matter of time. So I gotta redo that video when I get the opportunity. But welcome to the Western Wilds. I am LCDRAA Ron, or you can call me AA Ron for short. That's fine. And I'm presenting you with the very first episode on the Western Wilds of Survival. This is an alien gym map. We'll be doing multiple things on this map to make money. You can't get exactly zero money on consoles, so you have to do a little work. Have to spend some money, then sell some stuff, then interchange, and so we bought some patches of property. So we're gonna do what we can, but this is survival at the hardest level that we can get on consoles. So welcome to the Western Wilds, a map made by Alien Jim, a very creative map artist, and very good modder when it comes to environmental stuff. He is top notch. He is the only one that I can honestly say has created some real masterpieces out there that everybody loves. And Western Wilds is being used a lot right now, but it's not being used a lot by us. So we're going to get into this. Alright. So you can see society is on the edges of this. We have pre-purchased some equipment, I'm not going to lie. So we are going to lean towards Kubota equipment for the Western Wilds. So we've got a mower here, but we need to make some money, and so we're gonna hop. Sorry guys, I'm hopping and skipping, and as you can see, we've got our first load of wood. So there is one thing that I am gonna do on stream. I just want to kind of show you guys some of the settings that we're gonna use today. Turn the volume down on the studio here. So 3 times is the speed. Economic difficulty is going to actually stay set to hard. Traffic's on, even though that's useless. Seasonal growth, yes. 3 days per month will start the month of September. We don't have a fixed visual month. We do have snow on. We have crop destruction on. Periodic plowing on. Fieldstone on, and there's a very good reason to that. We won't have to allude to that for a few episodes. Weeds on, dirt normal, automatic engine start I always shut off. Stop go braking needs to be turned back on. That actually messes with the actual stop and reverse sort of thing. So I was trying to figure out what the heck was wrong last night. Trailer fill limit, we're going to turn that back on. Fuel usage, we're going to turn to normal. I don't want it on high. I'm not doing a clutch simulations thing. And normally when he does high fuel usage, it's not for survival mode. So we've got our first load of wood. I wanted to cut down a couple of trees in this stand. We actually have this entire corner stand, basically. Let me just bring up the map to show you what we have as well. Okay, so we have these 2 sections, and we'll go down and we'll kind of look at that as to why. We have section 13 here, and we have section 32, which has a lot of trees on it, as you can see. So our primary use, or our primary job for the next few episodes is let's get enough money, and we'll kind of give it a tour of the map as we go. So as you can see, I got a strip cut here. We've got a couple pieces of equipment. Granted, these were all on sale. Now, even if you start from scratch on hard mode, which is what it's considered when you're doing start from scratch, is it puts you into hard mode. And even with that mode, looking at, sorry if you're hearing popping on your end. Even if you're looking at that mode as a possibility of doing survival, it will give you about $500,000. So I had to spend some money on a couple plots of land, and you know, it just makes sense. So we're here in Western Wilds of the United States. We've got a John Deere. This was on sale. We are using a hay cart with straps. We actually sold a hay cart. As you can see, it's pretty basic. It's got a standard transmission on it, nothing big. Bobbing around a bit. I actually didn't even take the time. Let's see. And you can see all these markers that show homes. They're not homes, they're just fire towers. Let's see. The train yard's where we want to go. So we want to come down right to the road, take a right, and go all the way down across the bridge and into the train yard. Okay. So we're just going to shoot for straight ahead. We need to make some money because we need to get a baler and a wrapper will be the first thing. We're going to actually get ourselves into some silage creation here. But the Western Wilds is meant to be based off of the United States, kind of Western Hemisphere, if you will. There's some flatland. Montana, Dakotas, all of those places have a lot of flatland. You can see mountains off in the distance on the map. Jim never goes for necessarily a spot-on recreation of any particular area. It's like no man's land is meant to be an area between a couple of European countries. You can see the European influence kind of going through. But this is a whole nother game for us. We're going to be doing a survival map. I know I've got a couple pieces of John Deere equipment here. I am going to be switching over to Kubota. There are a few different things to keep in mind. This area is rich in gold. So as we plow up and make new plots of land, and as we harvest and take, crop off of that, we're also going to take stone off of it because the stone may contain gold. So we're actually gonna get into the gold creation business. We're gonna sell gold as we get it. So we'll be doing a couple of things here. And at the same time, we have a ranch that we're going to be revamping. So we've got a couple of businesses to get going. Eventually want to get myself into logging as an option. And of course, we're also going to get ourselves into raising sheep and horses here. So this is the sheep and horse ranch is the overall end goal of this. Once we have a successful lumber business, sheep, horses, and we're starting to haul numerous amounts of gold off the land, that's where we will call it for survival, but only after we're successful in doing so. And once we're successful in doing so, we'll have to set a couple of other variations to that as well, just so that we have enough to go off of, because obviously survival being what survival is, you're never quite sure what you're going to get. All right. So this is our first load of wood. Obviously, we're playing on hard. I may switch that back. 5,000, that's not bad. I may switch that over to what Daggerwind ended up doing with his survival mode. It's taken him a while to kind of progress further on his own as well. But Daggerwood actually had to bring his down to normal. I haven't done direct research into this, but apparently he was looking at it, and apparently somewhere along the lines of normal and economic difficulty on this is the same as hard difficulty on 19. Like I said, be aware, I haven't researched that. I don't know whether he's just kind of guesstimating based on what he made. Daggerwind's kind of the master of the survival mode here. So, what he says normally is pretty accurate to the position. So we've got this wonderful bridge here. This is set up really nice. Now, like I said, a lot of people are doing Western Wilds. It's the first real successful map. We'll leave that piece of wood there. We know where it is. And then, of course, plot 32 we can actually access by crossing that bridge. So we don't have to worry about putting down a bridge just yet. But forestry is going to be a big thing. And then, of course, replanting the forest as well on these plots. And maybe we'll set a couple other plots up for forestry. But obviously, we're going to need a productive hay market. We're also going to need a productive oats market in order to feed the horses and the sheep. So we're going to be looking at that. And field 33, or plot 33, I'm sorry. I have to remember they are plots today. They're not fields on this map. This is not going to deviate from my others, but I am going to try to take a more proactive approach on playing survival mode, and I'm going to have to do some survival stuff off stream. Otherwise, it's going to take us a good 2 years to hit that end goal. And maybe maybe that's what we'll do in the end. All right, so I wanted to bring you guys over to the other 2 plots of land that we own over towards the center of the map. Now, the reason I wanted to bring you to this is a rundown ranch. We are going to rebuild this ranch from the ground up. We're going to sell off equipment and do what we can. But these are plots of land that came for cheap. Didn't really come for cheap. But these plots, honestly, these plots aren't that expensive. And in order to buy the entire ranch, you got to buy 25 and 26. But, yeah. Welcome to my ranch. This is going to be the Kubota Sheep and Horse Ranch. Obviously, we're going to need some higher torque vehicles in order to do tillage on the map. We do have periodic plowing still on. So what will happen is... Ooh, beehives. I think these are all decorative, honestly. But what will happen is we'll probably go to a brand like Versatile or something along those lines to do the tillage. We don't really need more than, say, 1 or 2 tractors for that. But what we do want to do today is we want to save up our money for equipment that we're going to need. These old shelters, as you can see, they're pretty beat up. We're gonna scrap a lot of the stuff around here. Looks like we've got an old slurry pit that may be pretty dried out at this point. And it looks like we've got a hefty amount of manure, so maybe we'll get a loader over here with a truck. And some old bins. So we definitely have a lot of cleanup to do in here. Beams. Yeah. And this will take time because it'll cost money to get this stuff hauled out. But we are going to go ahead and let's go into the barn here. Old tractor, probably dead if I had to guess. Oh, they don't build these barns like this anymore. Maybe in honor of this one, we'll recommence it. It looks like the frame's actually in good shape. So we'll have to think about it. But yeah, alright. Well, let's get back to it then, shall we? So obviously we've got some trees in here. I don't want to haul off trees. I will want to eventually repave this whole section, but I'm not going to do that just yet. We're actually going to take the road right up near the ranch here and head back up to our plot. Or head back towards our plot anyway. No big equipment to start. We are not going to jump through any hoops or anything like that. We're gonna put the work through, and of course, putting the work through when I don't have a whole lot of time means that maybe we will take the 2-year life cycle of Farming Simulator and we'll just kind of do this survival series with like a couple hundred episodes. This is a real big deal for me. Understand that I'm going to kind of come in and out of role-playing a little bit. But our first goal is to get some baling equipment. Technically, we need a rake, a baler, and a wrapper. Because we're not going to get the bale wrap duo right away. So let's go ahead, full cart. Now, obviously, I'm on console, so I don't have the lumberjack mod available to me. So we are going to have to think about stump grinders for this forested land. And honestly, once we have the stump grinder, I think we're also going to think about a plow. And our first kind of goal for tractor upgrade here, I'm gonna go down the list here. So the first thing that we're gonna do is bring up our Kubota. First thing I'd like to do is I'd like to get us upgraded to the M6. Not much of one. I'm not a big fan of like the nose design, but I actually live in an area where there's a lot of Kubotas sold. And we have a Kubota dealership right next to my in-laws. So this is something that's very common in their smaller ones. But we are going to upgrade. We're going to have at least these 3 tractors eventually. We definitely need to think about loaders. And we need to also think about the sidekick. Sidekick will probably be one of my first real buys because it is fairly inexpensive. I could do that now, but I really want to get towards... Well, I have to get towards a lot of other stuff. So there is a lot of equipment here. Obviously, there's a disc harrow, there's a plow, there's a seeder. See, we've got these two. They're fairly inexpensive. These attachments are not going to cost a lot of money. As we upgrade, we're probably going to shift a little away from Kubota, but to start, we're gonna do Kubota tractors. And unfortunately, even with the 500,000, I was going for more along the lines of like starter tractors for sale. So we didn't have any Kubota options down here for sale. We've got an Axion 960, which is insane, and this this New Holland Harvester is crazy. But that's neither here nor there. So let's get started. I've got a nice steel chainsaw. I like the sounds that these things make. Now I'm following them in different directions. Okay. You notice I'm checking to make sure I'm not going to land this directly on the tractor. We're also going to start with a smaller rake system. I can't afford the big Kubota rake. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's process these. We'll take off the limbs to start. Now, I know what you're asking, why don't you walk the trunk? Typically, when you walk the trunk, and today it's going to work, because I've never once successfully had that work. And granted, I don't do a whole lot of logging, but never once has that actually worked for me. So that is a first. Logging is not something that goes quickly, so we don't tend to do a whole lot of that on the channel. But I do want to... Yeah, today it's going to work perfect. And as you can see, I landed it on the trailer anyway. You can't get the tree branches to cooperate. Just gotta edit from the side as if you're going to cut the log. And then it'll typically eliminate them. Of course, I normally see this in time-lapse videos when they're doing that, when they're walking the trunks like this. This is the one good thing about like fir trees is you can clean them up pretty quick, and we're gonna just drop a few trees and process. Not sure how long we're gonna be at this video today, quite honest. You can make some really dafty, punky stuff. That would drive some people crazy, but honestly, I'd rather do it this way. So basically, we are going for... I'm just going to kind of show you... And it saves every 15 minutes, by the way. So we are going down here into balers. Now we need to get something that is basically budget-minded here. So the first one will be... we use the New Holland. We're going to use the case. So this 344 RB, so the round baler, we'll use that. The fast bale here, this Kubota fast bale, is the ultimate... it is the ultimate choice, and it's kind of what we're going to eventually get up to. But for now, it's going to be this, and then, of course, with bale wrappers, we're going to go for this Kavernland. And that's 22,000. Can we change the foil color, at least? Yeah, so there's no cost changing the foil color. So let's go to a black. Let's just buy this outright, because that'll leave us down to 324. Alright, so let's cut 3 more trees, and then let's process and load up the carts with the 3. So we're cutting down 2 more trees. Let's see. Not using the long reach chainsaws or anything like that. And yes, we are keeping the map on and available so that we can see exactly. Let's walk the trunk. Yeah, see, sometimes you just... Never had that pop out before, have you? We might need to push this log back within our... Yeah. So we felled this into the next property, which is okay. What we're going to do is we're probably just going to push her in with the tractor. Not a big deal with that. So maybe what we'll do is we'll leave these border trees alone and we'll cut from the inside. But let's go ahead, let's process up these 3 trees then. Now, of course, the thicker the trunk, the more weight I'm going to have to lift. So we don't want to do that today. It's going to be shorter pieces. The more it thins out, the more length I can put on it, which unfortunately means that, it's going to get used for firewood and for everything else. Object's still too heavy. Not really sure how long this sucker is. Oh, look at that. It's just out of view sight. Things sink when you put them in this trailer too, so it's a little odd. But yeah, in order for us to really have a successful survival playthrough, we are going to have to do things a little bit off of stream in order for us to actually have the work. I wanted to do that first workload to kind of see what the trailer would look like. I have no idea how this thing... takes a lot of concentration. Unfortunately, it's not as easy to manipulate as when you have a mouse and keyboard, which is unfortunate. Luckily, he springs back up, but you can imagine how that looks. Yeah, I wasn't really sure how well this was going to work last night. I've been wanting to use those hay carts. I grew up right down the road from a dairy farm that actually had a pair of these hay carts. And I was hoping that the baler that matches this cart would come out before I started this, so I could do like mini bales the first time around. And unfortunately, it did not happen. So we're looking to wrap and do silage. And it's still going to be a pain because we'll still have to find a way to lift and transport. And I, of course, am looking forward to Silver Forest Run, or whatever that is that's coming out in November. Unfortunately, it's bringing a lot of flack from the community with Farming Sim, because they're going through that whole, well, now it's just logging sim sort of thing. You know, it doesn't always have to be, and it's like I'm doing this on stream. A lot of YouTubers will do that, where a lot of players that stream or make YouTube videos, they'll do a lot of this back-breaking work kind of off to the side. PC players, of course, have the Lumberjack mod, which helps lift logs as a whole, which is really cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it. If I had the option for, you know, to use the Lumberjack mod on here, I definitely would, you know, because it makes more sense lugging around logs. But anyway, it's becoming kind of a heated debate amongst the farm sim community. And so, you know, I'm kind of interested to know what other people think about it. It's like, does the logging aspect bore you? Will it kind of force you away from the game? Or are you really cool? You know, do you think what's coming up is really cool? Because I was a little, and I still am just a slight bit more skeptical. But I think a map like they have coming through is like the first one that they've created that could actually be used for survival mode, like what I'm doing here. Because there's a lot of things that are offered on that haven't been offered on other maps. You know, we have new productions coming and all that other stuff. So we are gonna take a look. You know, I didn't price this out. We need to make sure we're getting the best price we can for wood here. So let's bring up, okay, let's get furniture and planks. And see, I got wood pellets, hay pellets. I've got all these productions in here. We may touch on a couple of these. I must have gone like right by it without really paying attention. Wood. Yeah, it's right at the top. Okay, so the train yard still sells it for the best. So we're gonna do it by the train yard today. Okay, let's process the next log then. Sometimes you go to cut these ends off and they just come off altogether. gonna have a interesting time loading. Those wagons are not really, you know, it's not a flatbed, but it's not really anything to shake a stick at. Now, where there aren't any contracts, I will say if I get slightly frustrated and I need a piece of equipment right away, I'm not going to shy away from getting loans a little later. But the idea of survival mode is to try to live off the land. And that's exactly what we're going to do here, is we're going to try to actually live off of what we can pull from these plots. So I may go through and I may cut what's on the ranch anyway. But I've got a whole forest plot, and that whole forest plot will be renewable forest plot. So once we get done cutting there, if I strip it completely out, if I clear cut it, the goal and the objective in the long run is to actually go through and replant the trees as we go. Now keep in mind that this can end disastrously with the whole thing coming undone. Obviously, in real life, I've stacked plenty of firewood. I live in the state of Maine. Trees and fireplaces and using logs as heat has never been so hard. And I mean, doing this by hand, obviously I don't have as much time on my hands, and I'm not going to have a whole lot of time on my hands, to be perfectly honest. But I thought doing something a little different in Farm Sim obviously would be nice. We've got harvests and other things on the other maps that we do on a regular basis, and I'm not abandoning the other maps. You know, I'm not abandoning the other streams that we have going so far. But I wanted something different. Wednesday afternoons are not necessarily good times for people to get on and see this, so a lot of you are going to see it post-stream. For anybody who sees these during stream, you know, obviously tune in. I'll try to do something regularly, but yeah, see, as soon as we start stacking towards that edge, wow, that's really freaking aggravating. I'm gonna be honest. Let's try that. Let's give it a little bit more of a lip. There we go. And I mean, the idea of these survivals is that this is going to take a long time, and you have to try to establish yourself like the best you can, right? Because anybody who's doing this kind of work like this is going to have, you know, is going to have time on their hands. I mean, Mr. Sealy P is doing a series on this. I mean, it was bound to determine anyway. I think as far as YouTubers go, he likes creativity. He likes different on all of his maps, and that's okay. I'm so picky with maps. I get why he's excited about this. Now, I've watched Western Wilds with clutch simulations. I've watched episodes of Mr. Sealy P's stuff. Obviously, you know, this is a different map with a different taste, and everybody does Farm Sim a little differently, right? So we are here to experience what we can at a different level than what we normally do. So cut that here. I like to process these kind of one at a time. Obviously, like I said, unlike the hardwoods, I feel like the hardwood trees that you deal with legitimately have to be cut up in the same manner that you would in real life. So, you know, these are obviously, we'll get to a point where we can afford tree harvesters and things like that. And, you know, I want to make the logging, like I said, I want to make the logging side of the business a sustainable part of the whole map and the whole playthrough. So this isn't gonna be the first time nor the last time where you see like logging taking place. We may not take a role of doing it too often on stream after we get ourselves established, but unfortunately getting ourselves established means we've got to do this sort of work often, you know? And so I don't want, like I said, I don't want people to get a taste in their mouth that says, hey, you know, this is the extent of what you're going to see. You're going to see a ton of logging. That's not the only thing you're going to see on the map. It's what you're going to see right now, because we don't have anything else to show. Okay. You can't even see the cut line. I mean, that's how it is, though, right? So survival on Western Wilds is going to require a bit of work, and only a bit. It's not going to be too bad. We are getting caught up in kind of industrializing the farm on Frankenmuth. Some of the ideas I have going for a couple of the other farms are also taking turns towards more industrialization than anything else, whereas this is going to give you your small-time ranch feel skis. So I don't want anybody to feel like they're going to be watching something massive. This is going to be for those times we need to relax. Obviously, Wednesday is like a midweek rest day for me. It's a day off that I have. But normally I have a lot going. It's like I had a lot going this morning. Now I don't have so much going, and I don't have my kid home today, so it gives us the chance to do this. I'm going to shoot for this more on any time that we really need to just relax and unwind. Oh, got a little vegetation left on that one. We're not going to load the cart too heavy here. Obviously, we want things to sit the best they can. Object too heavy, so we're going to cut these in half. There we go. And these will be the last few logs that we take out of here. We're going to need to think about a stump grinder before we expand the fields, but we need to expand into oat and a few other things. So we'll be looking at definitely be looking at a plow and a stone picker, even if it's just for rental sake. I did actually take the time to pick up the obviously you have to kind of use some of the money that you get from start from scratch. So we do have a few facilities purchased just for the simple sake of using up the money, but also they're productions that we're going to use, and we need to have them in order to use them. Wow. Okay. So let's strap a couple of those piles in. Let's try to get this back onto the cart. No, it's going to be an absolute pain in the butt. Of course it is. Okay. I'm gonna throw that object. And now this piece comes loose. It's like, God, I can't win. Log stacking is not my speciality. I don't claim it to be, but there have got to be. Maybe next time I won't go for a bale trailer. Okay, let's see. Is that too heavy? Nope. And that's the last piece that needs to go on this. It's like Jenga. You're never really sure how far you're gonna get. Okay, there we go. Got everything that's going to be strapped on, strapped on. Let's go. Let's take a look at the wood one more time. So the train yard is still going to offer us the best price. As you can see, it's quite a hefty load. I mean, that's pushing actual marks in the ground. Like you can see where the tires are going across on the trailer more than you can with the tractor, honestly. This tractor is a good solid beast, but I think when we get close enough prices to be able to buy ourselves a Kubota, I think we're going to sell this off and switch over to the Kubota. These country roads are great. We're going to try to leave the ground around these roads as unspoiled as possible, though. So we're not going to be putting a ton of different roadways in. Obviously, there might be a couple of connections that I put in. May even improve and stabilize these roads better. Put a second bridge in or something like that. Let's take a look at something real quick, by the way. Let's put the economic difficulty on normal. Now, let's go and see. So I am gonna put that up to normal. This is my first time doing survival. We'll do a hard economic difficulty when it comes to like a fully established farm. I don't know what the rules are on survival mode. If you wanna comment, leave a message for me and kinda. Like I said, Daggerwind has got a survival mode going right now, and he's on a ton of episodes. Piece of wood is coming loose. Here we go. Looks awkward, but at least it's on there. Yeah, so I have got to try to make some money. And Daggerwind's got a solid survival mode that he's doing right now on the Comlands, and he's expanding quite well. But unfortunately, as he discussed, hard mode and normal, normal economic versus hard economic difficulties have really kind of changed up since FS22. And we're gonna gold prospect. I'm not gonna look at to be fair, I am not gonna look at the map that's over here by the train yard in order to get gold. There is a map that actually shows gold nuggets, and there are gold nuggets on the map. If we do acquire a gold nugget, you're going to use that towards the farm. I'm not going to shy away from it. If you were running gold, if you were seriously getting gold, you would not like not use it. You wouldn't collect it and not use it or leave it laying around. You'd collect it and use it for your farm. And that's the same thing we're doing here. We're doing a little bit of gold prospecting, doing a bit of we're doing a bit of land development. We're doing a few different things that are going to keep us busy. And to be fair, I don't ever keep track of where I see these things on Let's Plays. There we go, 5 grand. 5,000. Saw a trailer over here. Some plates. Oh, water. Now that is, if you are playing the gold, I'm not going around. I'm not going to look at it, guys. Even if I did, I probably wouldn't remember anyway. But if you are looking to play this map and you're looking to get some gold quick, You can get the map in that hut with the gold nuggets, and that'll show you where the gold is on the map. So keep in mind, like I said, you can pull gold out of the ground. So it looks like, for heaven's sake, look at that. I don't know if we can get to that. Well, everybody, we found our first gold nugget. All right. See, I'm getting the jump prompt, but I'm not actually getting the ability to jump. Well, we need our bailing equipment, right? So why not get our first... Oh, physics. I don't know if you can get that without building something out to it. Let's give it one more shot. If not, then hey, there's a gold nugget there for whenever we can spend money to build a structure. So we need a total of 30,000 gold. We need a total of $30,000 in order to buy our baler. We have the wrapper. I don't think you can do it. I think that's out there to tease you. Anyway, there's that's what a gold nugget looks like. Like I said, we're not going to take any extra shortcuts or anything. I feel like the nuggets are a worthwhile piece, just because it's going to make life that much easier for me, and I don't think farmers would just ignore it. So I was hoping to get beyond the end. But you can see society's right on the edge here. We're technically close. Let's travel some of the roadways. This is another access right into our area. I think it's 32 that we are the owners of, right? Let's see. Yep, 32. So we have access to a very large stand of trees that are actually in an area that doesn't have a lot of deviation from the normal terrain. I do like to just drive these areas sometimes. See, this one even came with a radio. There's fields near 34. There's all these meadows that we can take advantage of. We are gonna take advantage of these when the time comes to buy up more plots of land. Like I said, we're gonna have to do things because we have sheep, or we're gonna have sheep. So sheep are gonna require a lot, and horses are gonna require a lot. But hey, we're in the wilds of the West. Why we wouldn't take the time to kind of build things up is beyond me. You know, looking at all these stands of trees, if we can somehow get some money together for, say, a tree harvester and a forwarder, for example, then we could easily get ourselves into it. And maybe that'll be the first investment that I'll make in earnest. Let's go down to the southern bit here. See, there's kind of pieces of industry all over the place. Um, it's meant to feel very wilderness. Obviously, it's called the Western Wilderness, but it's supposed to kind of encourage building up to. That's what we're gonna be doing here. I mean, that's the whole plan anyway. Is to kind of build up these services. Apparently you could shut off electric humming. Old windmill here. You can hear these. I'm not sure how well you're hearing it in the stream, but you can hear the sound effects quite well in the actual game. So this is one of 2 sawmills in the area. Like I said, the goal is eventually to get into lumber as part of our process. See, roadways in and out very easily. And take a moment, make sure we're not leaving behind any morsels. It's right on the edge. I mean, you can't get even close to those roadways. Sail silo. So there's a few different things that we can do. Let's go ahead. We'll head back up to the plot. We'll get going there some more. I know getting started with a John Deere was not exactly like the smartest thing, and I should have used a little more of our advance money to go ahead and get our Kubota right away. But this was a sale item. This was used. A lot of times, whether it be some stream that I do or a stream that other people do, they don't typically start with used equipment. So we're starting with used equipment. We're starting with, no fuel tanks available, nothing. We're gonna just kind of buzz along the best we can. Like I said, we've got to get up to 30,000 to get the baler. Once we have the baler in place, wonder how much, because we do need to get our windrower. We need to get a rake. So there's the Profi. That's a little out of our range, even as we build up a little. The Pottinger is actually close to what we need. And then, of course, these. I could get this right now. This is kind of an interesting piece as well. I'm not sure how that works, whether you set that on the... You must have to set that on the front of the tractor to do that. Have these 2 things. Yeah, because that's all hydraulically fed. Definitely looks like front of the tractor, though, doesn't it? So we should probably shoot for the K brand. I'm calling it the K brand because YouTube demonetizes videos all the time for calling it anything else. So we'll either go with the K brand or we'll go with the Kloss, which I do believe, yeah, it's got a slightly wider width on it as well. And I do like that liner. I actually see these all the time. So the weight doesn't change anything. So we're gonna go for one of those. Go along with our baler. I didn't download the Roland baler. I'm not trying to do a ton of Kloss equipment. Deere equipment. What I am trying to do is I'm trying to settle on a survival mode. Excuse me for a second. Okay. Feels lighter in one ear than my headset here. It's probably just the way my hat's sitting at the moment. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, here we are in survival. I mean, it's going to be a lot slower pace. It's going to be a lot of uphill struggles. I like to pretty much establish my farm right away before I stream, and then just kind of let the stream take whatever. You know, I could get a loader and a single trailer and some at the same time. Just we are just gonna keep up with the work. So technically we need about 42,000. I don't even know if I'll get that in this stream today. We are going to do some of this tree work off of the stream, I think. Just to make life easier. Like I said, we're doing grass bales, so we're wrapping bales. Okay. Let's disconnect the trailer for a minute. It's a good thing this is all-wheel drive. Well, that's better than none of the tree. So I think what we're gonna do from here is we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut the stand of trees completely out. Kind of process that up as best we can. So for the first stream, it's gonna be logging simulator. Like I said, this is kind of bringing some interesting things with the Silver Run Forest. I believe that's what they're calling it, Silver Run Forest or something like that. Anyway, it's bringing a lot of interesting things to root about people that are very strongly rooted in this idea that farming simulator is farming. Period. Trees kind of take on a different meaning, at least for I think the American markets for this game. We're gonna actually shut the tractor off right here and just leave it for now. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to fall this line of trees into the map. But this brings up kind of a thing that I think is always kind of in the back of everybody's mind dealing with logging and farming simulator is like how far is the logging going to go, you know? How long before you can't do logging? Or how long before logging becomes something more serious? Obviously with this expansion now, there's a lot of people that are very upset about it. There's a lot of people that are wicked excited about it too. I'm still on the fence. I'm very undecided when it comes to this next edition. Okay, let's see. It's letting me cut this tree down. So we're gonna fall some trees. Clear cutting. I know we're not inspiring any environmental friendliness with this one. I'm not trying to do that. You know, I'm trying to create myself a farming utopian ranch. And ranches are often mistaken for these big cash cows that eat up forests. And not every rancher is like that. Thank goodness. Then again, there are quite a lot out there that have given that and are exactly like that. That tree's not falling. Wow, okay. Don't know what we're gonna do about that one. It's a good thing you can't get killed in this game. I have no idea what the deal with that tree is. I know that in real life that would induce panic in people that are working on the trees. Let's take it from this approach, shall we? Let's just cut this off and see what happens. Wow, okay. Now I'm doubly panicked. We're gonna fall everything into the property. Normally this would be an absolute mess, so I mean don't go by my example of logging. I'm sure my cousin's husband, if he saw me doing this, would just like, I don't know, he'd have a fair few words to say to me though. Yep, I even have loggers in the family. My father-in-law works in a paper mill and has worked there for the better part of like 30 some odd years. You know, and then I have my cousin's husband works as a logger in the state of Vermont. So there's, you know, there's a lot of logging in the family actually. Okay. So, let's pick a tree and let's clean the limbs off of it. We're gonna kind of clear out what we can. Some people might find this a bit annoying, but quite honestly, it's like, look at how well that clears the tree. Gonna clear the limbs off the ones that we have fallen now. I'm not going to process anything further until I get the limbs cleared off these bottom trunks. If you get annoyed with this, just mute this part of it. It's honestly easier than revving the whole chainsaw. Works just as good. If there's another tree next to it, obviously that might not work it quite as good, but you can see just how much of it clears out. And then you can move on to the next trunk. Go. You can kind of see what's left on both trees. Make a change with that real quick. You've got bare trunks laying here, which is better than ever. Obviously, this stand lays in the middle of 4 different map corners. The bulk of which is in map 13. I'm trying to stay hydrated. I'm 5 days into the return to my diet since COVID hit me. I haven't been on any particular diet or doing anything to try to better my weight, and that came to a close as of today, or that came to a close as of 6 days ago. And for every day on my diet, I've managed to lose 6 pounds, which I am assuming is just kind of water weight. Obviously, I haven't changed any of my other eating habits yet. I just stopped drinking soda. And I eased off the snacking quite a bit. I work 10-hour days, so I don't get a whole lot of time during the week to typically snack, but that's ends up getting me on weekends. So we're into this about 6 days into it. I'm finally feeling a little better. Anybody who's come off of soda and dropped that habit like a hot potato will tell you it is an absolute nightmare to get off of. Works almost as good as a drug, you know. So we're gonna cut this limb and just boop. And actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna process and stack everything so that I don't have to worry about walking it back and forth to the trailer as often. I can just move the trailer around. I want that going the other way. We have this going into the property line, then we won't have trouble delimbing and taking it. There we go. Wow, okay, this little guy right here is stopping up the process. Alright, well, like I said, we want to clear the trunks that are already down on the ground here. I didn't realize how much of a mess I was getting myself into. Welcome to the vegetation simulator. Holy smoly, that's a lot of tree limbs. Of course, as you clear them out, you can kind of get a better picture of what you're dealing with. You know, what tree did that limb come off of? Just gonna cut that off. So processing and delimbing these trees, obviously with a tree harvester, you would be doing this a lot quicker. But just to give you an idea, always hit the map button instead of hitting the... So just to give you an idea, let's go to forestry equipment. So obviously these are forwarder trailers. It's $19,000 for the Anderson. So I'm probably going to actually invest in that pretty early. That way I can haul bigger ones out. $27,000 for a stump grinder. We've got a lifter here. That's $3,000. You can put that on a front loader. And then $70,000 for the tractor processor. So this is a processor that can go right on a tractor. You lay the limb right across it and you process it. But that's $70,000. So even to jump up to the next thing, which is something that we're actually going to eventually do, it's going to cost us $70,000 to do that. So the Anderson may be the first thing that we invest in, and honestly, that wouldn't be a bad deal. But I still wanna just invest just enough to get my silage bales baled, and then get back to basically cutting down trees and processing those. Um, 17,000 isn't a whole lot. That's like 4 trips back and forth to the train. We do that. That's like 2 to 3 trees per trip, basically. So you'd have it way before you run out of trees on the plots of land we already have. Okay, look at this. We're doing pretty good. This is going to be problematic. We're gonna clear the limbs from this sucker. You can see already. Some of this belongs to another tree that's just laying here. So that's the thing when you log this many trees at the same time. It's gonna create little variations and issues for you. I mean, I don't really want to take that small tree out of there, so I'm gonna find a way to get rid of that. Like I said, I'm gonna definitely have to do some logging off the off camera. I mean, unless people want to see every single little step that I take here, which I mean, some people definitely want to see every step that you take. Let's try. Just gonna try to cut it right there. And we're gonna try to cut it right there. And look at that, we got it unwedged from the little tree. I want to keep the little tree here. Okay, let's delimb this sucker before we delimb any of the ones back there. The other thing with the tractor processor that I'm not sure about is just how much weight it can handle. Some of these are larger trees and won't even fit in the processor even though they're supposed to be able to. You get past a certain age on trees and it becomes an absolute nightmare. You can see cutting off the end there. So I think we're gonna go for another half an hour, and that's where we're gonna leave it off here. I don't wanna bore you guys too much today. Maybe we'll get the tractor over and push that log, that tree over. That clump's gonna be a nightmare. So let's just finish delimbing this before I work my way over to those trees. Delimbing when you're dealing with a single tree, a bunch of these isn't too bad. But even when you get them close together, walking the tree may seem to do nothing. There we go. I like to see what I'm dealing with though, and this vegetation right here, that's gonna be the doozy. Nope. Maybe not nearly as bad as I thought. Holy schmoly. That tree is still The tree's still making me nervous. Let's see if we can't excise it. Gotta be able to get that limb back in at some point. The smarter choice would be to shop around for a better tractor that's suited for this. Fortunately, there's, you know, huh. Okay. Well, now I've lost track of that silly thing. All right. Not even sure. See, when I cut it into multiple pieces, it should have given me. You should be able to walk up and see a prompt to grab the tree, even though it's not technically. Even if it's too heavy, it should still be giving me that prompt. So, yeah, I'm not honestly sure what the hell happened, but I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth at this point. Go. Drop that into a more clear stand here. Like I said, we're going to process these, we'll delimb them, we'll stack everything. It means a lot of work by hand that you wouldn't necessarily do. Normally, if I start a map and I intend on doing logging right away, it's not as painstaking, but today it's going to be very painstaking. Okay. You can see I'm kind of learning from my mistakes in the first set that I dropped. When you're dropping the first sets, you don't really have a whole lot of choice when you land these trees. It's not like farming, and I do apologize for anybody that comes on and sees these and goes, well, that's not farming, you're doing logging there. And it's like, yeah, I am doing logging, but it's to start a farm, you know, and it's gonna show agriculture. Yeah, sure, logging isn't what you would consider agriculture, but agriculture is growing plants for some sort of material consumption. In the case of trees, the material consumption is normally for energy or heat or paper products, you know, whether that be books or plates or, you know, any number of things. So you can't really... Trees are called tree farms, you know. So that like brings the argument for November like full circle. You know, they're gonna have the mountainside wench systems, like the actual wenches that are used to pull, you know, trees up mountainsides and things like that. So, I mean, looking at it overall, it's hard to imagine why anybody would be too mad. I do feel like maybe the Antonio Carrero pack got a lot of guff, and that's rightly so. I don't think enough people got into the vineyards like they were hoping. You know, depending on how things go here, we may put a vineyard in for this map. I don't really know where this thing is going yet. I really don't. You know, we've got the South American map going with our coffee beans, so maybe when we're doing coffee, we're not going to be doing grapes. But we've got sugarcane, and that's rolled out really well. I made something like $500,000 on those first 3 fields, and I've got 3 more fields to go with it. And it's been a fantastic experience with that map so far. With the Jackto DLC, we're using some equipment that we've never used before in a map. Hopefully Saturday night will be a night where I get to kind of present it, if you will, to play a little more, to show you what I've been doing there. I played the map the other night and did some... We're going to let the tree roll. Did some liming on the fields, the sugarcane fields, all of them. Stuff growing and the ones that were harvested needed lime. And of course we were able to put fertilizer on the fields that were growing. So we're progressing the Jackto DLC and map pretty well. And wow. You see a freight train coming through. The freight train is actually a mixed freight train here. It's rather large. Gotta make sure that that line hits the upper trunk and not the lower trunk. We're gonna start processing this tree and stacking. Kind of be the job for today, I think. Okay. Let's go ahead. We're not going to do anything too drastic. On anything that's too heavy, we'll just leave put and then just kind of cut it after we process it. I'm going to stack it right here. We're going to kind of line things up. When we get enough money together after the baling equipment, probably do the Anderson trailer there so we can leave bigger lengths, and that'll kind of help us because then we can maintain a certain uniformity or close to uniformity of the lengths of these trees and just get them together a little better. Right now everything by hand tool, you know, obviously that's going to be a different story. When we do the tree processor, those are pretty much my next 2 buys. We're going to have to seriously consider a forestry tractor with a better, kind of a better frame, if you will. They have those wonderful cage frames, and there are a few tractors that actually have them in-game. Fendt tractors have those. There is a John Deere that has it. There's a Valtra that has it. Unfortunately, the Kubota ones don't. But like I said, as we get going, if we come across a gold nugget or two, obviously we're going to use those to our advantage. I know it seems a little cheaty, but this is my first foray into survival, and when you stream, it's hard because you want to be able to show as much as you can in the little bit of time that you have. That's why there's large gaps, and I handle processes that would normally be handled on a kind of on a video on YouTube, time lapse it a little. And that's another thing is it's like if everything goes well in the next few months, I'm going to start investing in equipment that will help the process. So hopefully we'll be able to invest in a computer with some decent editing software. If I do invest in a computer, I'll probably spend a little extra money and get this game on there and start doing some things with some time lapses on the YouTube channel. I will tell you that this will be uploaded as of the end of the day today. I do plan on actually uploading the survival. So this is episode 1, of course, of the survival. I'm doing a lot of logging. Everybody likes logging, right? So yeah, I mean, I think we all need to get over the fact that this is part of it. If you look at like the Anderson DLC from the last game, the fact that a lot of that is base game now, I think it has to be looked at as a project. Oh, this is a big tree. I think it has to be looked at as it's part of the... Not only is it part of the narrative of the life of a farmer, but it's also part of the idea that farming takes on, 100 different methods and 100 different ways, and people just need to get kind of over that. That's like the biggest problem, right? Is people don't get over the fact that Farm Sim covers the aspects of every aspect of agriculture. And farming is difficult, right? Like, it's not an easy thing. A simulator that speaks to several people, maybe several different types of people. You have the hardcore ones who come in here and they play everything to a T like a simulator. And then you have the not such hardcore ones that will come in and they'll do the really offhand equipment, and then you have the ones that do a little bit of everything, and then you have ones like me that will, kind of sit in the middle, and even though it's odd equipment, it may get used for a lot of this stuff, and if something breaches the reality of that stuff, it may get my attention as not being realistic enough, or it may get my attention that it's kind of offhand and weird. There's all sorts of things that can happen on this game, and there's all sorts of people that you kind of direct your questions and your anger. It's like Giants in reality. I mean, that's a game studio of what, maybe 100 people. It's a tight-knit family. They all work on the same project together, and right now their project is Farm Sim, and the first year of Farm Sim, and support and control, and you've got all these people that do, testing, and I mean, there's even an American over there that's part of their team, and he does QA testing, phenomenal guy. They're all phenomenal in my mind, from the mod testers up. It really is something that you have to pay attention to. And then of course there's the mod creation, community. And the modder community is tight knit and kind of crazy, and everything that you'd want from a modding community. We've talked about the toxicity before with the modding community, and that sense, and I feel like some of that is dissipating. Like I feel like some of that is finally going away. Giants have changed a lot on their protocol with regard to mods and how they handle and how people are handled, situations are handled. The excellent thing is like custom modding can bring on a lot of his mods, and they don't interfere with, say, Sid modding stuff, which they have a few similar pieces. I think there's a little feud that goes on between those two, but I might be just reading too far into it, but this logging thing seems to be the new axe to grind, and I don't think that's a fair, thing to do to Giants. I don't think that's a fair thing to do to the community. And when you tell somebody whose agricultural kind of foundation lies in the logging industry, it's not very smart to say that's not agriculture, because you're growing plants for a purpose at that point, right? You're not just growing plants, but you're growing plants for a purpose. And trees take a lot longer. I think the whole reason that we're seeing this map come about now is I think it literally was to prove a point that these people are farmers too. You can't single them out just because logging is a bit of a pain in the butt. My brother-in-law, my cousin's husband, used to play Farming Simulator 19. He would come home from logging, and he would literally jump on in logging, and it was amazing how close he said it was as far as the accuracy goes. So I think the game's always kind of been leading up to the logging aspect that we're dealing with now. Obviously, in order for us to do survival mode, we got to be able to make money somehow. And, I might have recklessly, instead of thinking it over and kind of thinking about it, I might have recklessly spent the money that we spawned with because it was easier to be reckless. I don't know how I'm going to spin that just yet. I feel kind of bad about doing it this way, but you've gotta literally start somewhere. We're just gonna process trees for this episode. I know it's kind of boring, and sorry I don't get to take the Kubota mowing deck out and show you more of that. Obviously, I was waiting for Stone Valley to see how that would pan out, and I'm telling you, I'm losing my patience. I don't know where it's failing or how it's failing. I don't really care at this point. When I can hop on a map like this that has, this map has a lot to offer, and I can hop onto this, and I don't have to worry about the next update. Obviously, he had an update once already, and it did change a few things. It required a new game save. But that's the thing about Alien Jim. His stuff normally doesn't require a game save. He makes changes on the map. I don't know what he does to manipulate the code. Obviously, there are a lot of codes involved in modding. And so when you see a mod map like this that doesn't require, say, an actual change for a save game, it kind of makes me happy. This one's, the first update in this map did require that, which is rare, but sometimes you can't help those things. But I know I was talking about Stone Valley and the possibility of doing Kubota on there. I can honestly say I've lost a lot of patience with Stone Valley. My issue with the map, either out of sheer stupidity of my question, maybe my question was just too dumb, or maybe it just didn't make a whole lot of sense, or maybe the person answering the question. We're rather busy. But with the help file that was up for Stone Valley, you had a chance to report bugs and things of that nature. So I went ahead and I reported something and was never responded to. I don't know who runs the forums. I don't know who reads them, how busy the individual, people are for them. But, Stone Valley to me was, well, it's a case of wasted opportunity. You want to give the modders the creative go-around that they want. So you wait for a map to come out that you honestly thought was going to be a lot more customized, only to find that it's not customized and it's very restricted on what you can do. And I didn't run into the problem with the last variant of Stone Valley before this one. I felt like there was a lot of customization options there. I felt like there was a lot going on that could really help. And I felt like the individual responsible for the mod was a lot better put together at that point. And maybe that's just stupid of me to assume that. Like I said, I'm not angry, but I lost my patience. And when I lose my patience, I want to be able to jump into a map. I want to be able to stream it. I want to take some time to be able to play on it too. With a survival mode like this, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of gusto. It can be a very large struggle for people to be able to use it. So we're actually getting into the 4 o'clock range. There is one thing I wanted to look at possibly doing before we get done here today. Let's go to construction. Honestly, we have farmhouse stuff from here to Timbuktu. Holy crap. I think what we're going to end up doing is something along these lines. I do want to eventually get to this cabin. Place a cabin down, but I think we'll be doing that probably over in the section that's ours. So it doesn't look like we can get away with a whole lot there for farmhouses. Let's go. This garden lounge comes with a sleep option. Let's just put it right here. Alright, so we've set up, obviously it's August. August and September, we'll be able to get, we'll be able to just throw out a sleeping bag and sleep in this, cook our food on this. We're not going to be doing too bad, I think, here in the Western Wilds. Let's process one more tree. So I think people need to just kind of get over the fact that certain things are going to come to me. Obviously, I've had to get over the fact that these maps that are customizable are not always going to be the answer to everybody's prayers. If I get a lot of good views on this, obviously we'll keep doing this for a while. There are a couple of actual maps that have recently come out that are highly customizable. I don't want to say every map maker is kind of taking it easy. There are a few, obviously, that are taking it really easy. and they're using a lot of assets that are already in the builder and things like that. They're not trying to come up with their own. For those of you that know who you are, um, you honestly, if you're somebody that people know by name, think about it. Think about maybe slowing down the pace of a map. Obviously, you've got map creators like Alien Jim, Bullet Bill. Those guys are completely from scratch. Um, Alien Jim, you have some assets on this map that are standard in-game ones, but you've got enough creativity going on that honestly you can't knock it. Like you really just can't knock what's being done here. So um, obviously there's some things that you have to be careful. I'm on stream. I can't take any of this stuff that I'm saying back. And I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to take it back. I think there's a level of laziness going on with certain modders, and I'm not afraid to say that. And I also think that there's a wonderful group of modders out there that are finally getting some of their pieces out there because they have the better variations of certain pieces of equipment. That's huge. I want to say that is like a big deal when you literally have a mod that is better than what the other person's putting out. There have been some rough comments that I might have made in the past, and for some of you making mods, it's your first time, right? It's the first time that you're making mods, and you'll face a lot of criticism. And I always try to treat everything with a grain of salt. If I know you're a new modder, I'm gonna try my hardest to not be terribly critical. I'm gonna tell you if I think you're coming up a little flat on something, but I'm also gonna tell you, hey, that's a great attempt. And I think you have probably learned a lot for your next one. That doesn't, the opportunity to have this many mods. This is what keeps the community alive, and it's the thing that's making it so that I can, I just put down a sleep trigger. That's a mod. It's a friggin' decoration that somebody added a sleep trigger to because he was like, hey, maybe a bozo's gonna come around and ain't gonna want to do this, but there you go. It's like I'm a bozo who's doing a survival mode, and I want the cheapest possible sleeping spots. I could have gone for the hobo pack, which would have done little sheds and some small single-man tents and things like that. Obviously, I didn't go that route. I could have easily gone that route, I guess. But that's what we're doing here. We're on the Western Wilds. We're here possible. We're going to roleplay the hell out of this. But all of this is possible thanks to Giants, thanks to Alien Jim. We're gonna see some really cool stuff on this map, create some really big money opportunities for us. It's phenomenal that this thing exists and that I'm able to use it. I mean, how many people can honestly say that they stream in their off time and they're doing a survival map? Not too many. Not too many, I imagine, anyway. Huh, okay. This part of the trunk can be picked up with greater length. It amazes me sometimes, the physics or whatnot. These are great. I mean, look at all the stacking I'm getting done. It's like if I had a tractor capable of picking up and moving this stuff by itself, that would speed it along. So we're gonna think of the process as this. Obviously, we spent 500 buckaroonies on a sleep trigger because it's getting to be 440. And in case we really don't do a whole lot more on this day, I want to be able to have a sleep trigger, so I wake up right here. Western Wilds, we're going to do some gold prospecting, we're going to do some logging, we're going to be keeping it as real as possible. We're going to be doing some silage. Hopefully in the next episode, we'll at least get to mow and possibly rake what we've got. But I just want to thank you guys for coming along on this adventure with me. This is going to be a new experience. We will be streaming, of course, our normal maps. I think you can expect a visit either back to Frankenmuth, back to Michigan, or you can even expect to maybe see South America over the weekend. We might head back for Brazil and continue working on our coffee plantation that we're creating. I'm doing a little work with that lately, and we just bought up some fields for that. Actually, we're doing some food creation, so we're creating some feed. But those feed lots will actually be turned into coffee, kind of coffee orchards, I guess you'd call it. I'm really looking forward to that process, and I'm really looking forward to bringing everybody along for that process. If you have enjoyed this today and you're not a member of the channel, please just give us a follow. It doesn't cost you anything. It'll keep you notified of when I upload a video or when I get ready to go on stream. And as you know, if you catch a stream and you have a conversation with me, we can talk about anything you want to talk about. Farming simulator related or maybe otherwise. The only thing I frown on at this point is politics. And, you know, it's for obvious reasons. Politics are really kind of a nasty game. And I come here to escape away from that. You know, so if you're interested in the streams, please make sure to follow. We've got growth every day. We're going to keep it going every day. And, you know, if you like what I'm doing, shout my name to the rooftops, please. I done messed up, Aaron. So, thanks again, guys. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Western Wild Survival. Have a great one.